All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? We're back. Sunday Night Football breakdown here, and we got a freaking doozy here. I can't believe this game's not on the main slate because this game would have been the game. Everybody's running to the window to stack up, but nonetheless, 39-point total here in Pittsburgh. And hey, Davante Adams reunited with his boy Aaron Rodgers. Maybe that'll change that Jets offense because it looked pretty pathetic last primetime slate here. But what's going on, man? Happy Sunday. What's up, brother?
Yeah, happy Sunday. Great Saturday of college football. Tennessee Vols took care of business last night. Hey, what about our boy BJ? We didn't talk about him. BJ over there in the MLB Showdown slate. Shout out to my boy BJ. Just a cool $25K in his back pocket. But yeah, looking forward to talking about this Sunday night game. Hopefully, we have some winners in the main slate as well. But should be a good one. Can't wait to talk about it. And my boy too, Mr. Unlimited. Mr. Unlimited making his return to the lineup tonight. Can't wait to talk. I like Mr. Unlimited, the person. He gets crapped on a lot this day and age, and he's not who he once was, but he's pretty funny to make fun of. So should be a good real-life game. Can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, should be a pretty good real-life game here. Game's in Pittsburgh, obviously 39-point total, 1.5-point spread here. 2-4 Jets coming in to the 4-2 Steelers. And man, did I see Russell Wilson is going to get the start? Is that right? I think they're deciding between Russell and Justin Fields, which seems ridiculous to me. Justin Fields has really done nothing wrong. I mean, he's got this team at 4-2 with literally throwing the ball to Pickens and Freiermuth, and then he's got School of the Blind behind him. Good thing they got a good defense. But, yeah, I mean, if that's the case, this game's going to be really ugly, in my opinion. I mean, from a quarterback standpoint, I guess – hey, we can just jump right into the captain position because I think the reports were they're going to kind of use both of them is what I saw. That's pretty hard to deal with on a showdown when Russell Wilson's 14-1 in the captain spot, Justin Fields is 14-7. And if they're going to be using both of them and not even realizing what the hell is going on there, it's going to be tough to kind of pinpoint that. But from a captain position, you got Breece Hall at 15-6. You got Davante Adams at 15 flat. And then you got my boy Garrett Wilson down at 13-8 because Davante Adams comes over. Hey, I don't know about you, but just because Davante Adams comes over, I get it. Him and Aaron Rodgers shower together and whatever else. But Garrett Wilson is still an absolute stud. Now this, I think, just takes more pressure off of Garrett Wilson, more focus off of Garrett Wilson. I mean, when you got Davante Adams on the other side, instead of Mike Williams, who slips and falls and just hands the ball to the other team, it's a little bit different, right? So from a captain standpoint, where are you looking? Because I think this is pretty interesting here. It's the first time we've seen Davante Adams in this new Jets offense here. So we have no sample to work off of, really.
Yeah, no, I think it's I think the Jets come out and win this game. I really do. I do like Davante. I do like Garrett, both in the captain spot the best. Yeah, I like what you said, and I wrote it up on the FanDuel slate plan this week is, Davante has that connection with Rodgers, but Garrett Wilson's a bona fide stud, and he's I think 5 years younger. And he's the most targeted or the second most targeted receiver in the NFL. Obviously, that'll change a little bit, but yeah, you're throwing to Allen Lazard, Mike Williams, some tight end no one's ever heard of, and now you got Davante, another star. He's going to get a lot of one-on-one coverage. Both of them are, for that matter. He won't be able to shade with him. I'm with you. I like Garrett Wilson in this matchup. I like Davante Adams in this matchup. I would side with Wilson just based on price, right? I mean, Adams hasn't played in 3 weeks. Hey, but I do want to give a huge shout-out to the Jets medical staff. What a great job on getting that hamstring ready in less than a week for Davante. It was such a great job by them. Really proud of what they did with that hamstring. Shout out to them. And then you're right. I mean, they're going to play both quarterbacks on the other side. I think that Fields is going to be that more of that gadget kind of guy, right? 3rd and 1 or 2, 4th and 2, and they need a run. And so neither Steelers captain for me. I don't know if you said that, but I won't be playing them in the captain spot. unless something comes out of hey, Justin Fields is going to play and play the whole game, or vice versa. But my two favorite would be those wide receivers for the Jets, and then number 3 and 4. I mean, you still got Breece Hall back there, right? I mean, you're going to have those two safeties, Minka Fitzpatrick. You're going to have him and that other safety 10, 15 yards off the line of scrimmage, right, playing over the top. Hey, that's going to open up the run game for Breece. So don't hate Breece. He is the most expensive. And then we always talk about it with A-Rod, right? I mean, if Wilson and Devontae both have ceiling games or close to ceiling games, they're naturally going to drag A-Rod with them. So he would be my 4th favorite captain that I like tonight.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. A lot of points that I agree with. I'm going to start from the captain position. I think more people are going to go to Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, who I do like. But, I mean, I'll hit on that in a second. My favorite captain here is Breece Hall. He's going to do it all. Less focus is going to get on him as well with Devontae Adams there. And Alexander Madison went for 18. Rico Dowdle went for 20. Jonathan Taylor went for 20, all against this Pittsburgh defense. If I show you to pull up the QB game logs across 6 weeks, a QB hasn't surpassed 15 point or 12 points, outside of Dak Prescott in 1 week. Every other week, it's been 12 or under. I mean, you're talking Justin Herbert scored 9 points. Bo Nix with rushing upside, running all over the field, scored 11. Anthony Richardson scored 5. Aiden O'Connell scored 12. Granted, it's not huge, massive sample sizes here, but I mean, now a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers comes into Pittsburgh to face, I think, the league's best defense. It's going to be tough here, I think, for the Jets to get stuff going on offense, and I think they're going to have to rely on Breece Hall. All the coach speak, obviously, coming in last week was run heavy with the new coordinator here in New York. Everybody just wants to jump off the wagon now because Devontae Adams here and thinks this team is just going to go air raid. I still think they're going to go on the ground. I still think that's the best way to attack Pittsburgh. I mean, no good way to really attack them, but we have to, right? Playing a 1-game sample here or a 1-game slate. I think Breece Hall is the best play on the slate. He's my favorite play from the Jets side. From the quarterback standpoint, I'm going to be fading all 3 of these quarterbacks, especially in the captain's position. I'm going to be underweight on these quarterbacks in general. Like I said, I mean, you look at both of these teams against quarterbacks outside of Josh Allen last week, who's basically kind of a bona fide running back, right? Sam Darnold, Bo Nix, Jacoby Brissett, Will Levis, who, hey, aren't great quarterbacks, but the Jets kind of ate them all up. Now you get Russell Wilson, who I think is a terrible quarterback. Justin Fields, I think, is the better quarterback. But again, you don't know what that split's going to look like. Russell Wilson's going to start the game. He hasn't played all year yet. Justin Fields, obviously, you know what he can do. At least he can get it done on the ground. So overall, from the quarterback standpoint, I think this is a slate where going under on the quarterbacks and just going on the volume guys, right? The Garrett Wilsons of the world, the Devontae Adams of the world. I like Tyler Conklin, Breece Hall, obviously. And then on the other side, I like Pickett. I like Freiermuth. I like Najee Harris, some of those guys. I'm just going more on the volume guys here overall. So captain position, it's Breece Hall. For me, Garrett Wilson would be probably my second favorite captain. And then on the Steelers side, man, it's pretty gross to grab a captain. If I were to go to one, it'd probably be Pickens, just because I think they need to push the ball. So Pickens would probably be my favorite captain. So Pickens, Najee Harris maybe, but it's realistically Breece Hall. I'm going to be heavy on Breece Hall here in the captain standpoint. Any additional thoughts or comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, I get your point on the Steelers. I mean, those quarterbacks that you name all have one thing in common, and they all suck, right? And A-Rod's not the A-Rod of old, and he's not going to run, but I do think he can distribute the ball a little bit better. And I'm sorry, Dak, I didn't mean to say that about you. I'll take Dak out of that, but those other – and he's not too good either.
No, Dak sucks at football. I'll just say that off the top. He's terrible. I mean, we got a lot of terrible quarterbacks in the realm here of looking at these game logs, which I'm not a huge game log watcher, but when you're starting to get to 6 weeks and that, right, the sample size starts to get bigger. But yeah, they haven't really played any crazy quarterbacks. Dak did go for 22. So like I said, if I were to go to a quarterback, I'd definitely be on the Aaron Rodgers side because I don't want to deal with the split or what that looks like from Pittsburgh side. I mean, it's just mind-boggling that Russell Wilson comes back. And, I mean, Justin Fields has you at 4-2 and winning football games here. They could even be better than 4-2. And now you're going to say, oh, Russell Wilson, here you go. Let's cook up some terrible dessert that nobody wants to eat. And Justin Fields is just probably going to end up going right back in the game. So that's a good point you bring up there. Let's pop over to the flex position here. And in a game like this, I mean, kickers and defenses, right? Both of these defenses are very good. The Steelers defense is at 48. The Jets is at 42. I like the Jets defense a lot here. I mean, Russell Wilson, terrible quarterback. Justin Fields can make mistakes. Granted, he can get it done more on the ground with his legs. And then you got Boswell, a great kicker, averaging over 12 fantasy points. He's 5,200. Zerline at 5K. Hey, Greg the Leg isn't really Greg the Leg anymore this year. So for me, it's Boswell, it's the Steelers defense, and it's the Jets defense. I really think the Jets defense gets a little slept on here. And they're still a great defense overall.
Yeah. Hey, one thing too I want to bring up too, that you made a good point on George Pickens, which George Pickens is a really good receiver, and DJ Reed left that Monday night game against the Bills the other night. They kind of picked on that backup. You're obviously going to want to fade Sauce, but if DJ Reed is out, I think that does benefit George Pickens. Good call on that. But yeah, moving on to kickers and defenses, we talk about it all the time. Boswell over Zerline for me. Zerline just is struggling right now. I know the win was a little bad on Monday, but Boswell's kicked in that stadium obviously for years. He's almost automatic from 50 and in. So I do like Boswell. I'm a little lower on the Jets D. I just don't think I think they rank pretty good, but I think stats lie sometimes, right? And I think that you can run on this team too, right? We saw Jordan Mason, we saw some guy named Ray Davis, just guys you've never heard of run all over this team. That's their weakness. So could it be a Najee Harris day? I don't think so. We don't really like him, although he had a good day last week. But so I'm lower on the Jets defense. I think, like you said, I mean, they fire their offensive coordinator and come out and say, hey, we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. And then I think they threw it like 40 times last week. Right. And so if they drop back that many times again, that Steelers defense, I mean, Rodgers is a statue back there. He's going to throw some picks, take some sacks. He's not mobile. I don't hate the Steelers defense if you want to build a game script that way. What's your take on having like a Brees in the captain and a Steelers defense in the flex?
Yeah, I don't hate it just because I think Brees does so much. I mean, he's still involved in the passing game. I think this just opens them up more, right? Because now they have to focus on Devontae Adams cut across the middle of the field. They have to focus on him and Wilson on the outside. And hey, don't mind you, if Tyler Conklin plays, he's still great and still across the middle there. I think just so much more gets opened up for Brees here, and I just think this offense becomes much more dynamic with Devontae Adams there. So I don't hate that. Because, I mean, like I said, the Steelers defense, 12, 13, 9, 11, 13. I mean, the only week they didn't score above 9 fantasy points was against Indy in Indy. Now they return back home here. Even in the game where they lost and gave up 20 points to Dallas, they still scored 11 fantasy points. Right? So they're giving up points. They're still scoring. They're getting sacks. Aaron Rodgers is a statue back there. I mean, I don't think TJ Watt really, I think TJ Watt's licking his chops, right, when he sees 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers coming to town and basically immobile at this point of his career. So I think that's a great play. I think that's one way that you get unique with Brees Hall as well because, yeah, like you said, looking at last week, I mean, they wanted to run the football, but Aaron Rodgers still threw the ball at 35 attempts. Now, obviously, the game script plays into that, right? Buffalo kind of came out and just punched him in the mouth. So they had to throw. Now, if Jets are playing from ahead, which sounds like you think, I kind of think a little bit as well. I think they're going to rely much more heavy on the run than what happened last week. But again, if the same kind of thing comes out, right? Steelers at home, come out, get 2 quick scores, and the Jets are trailing. Then Aaron Rodgers is going to have to drop back. That just overall improves the Steelers defense as well there. So kind of a long-winded way to explain the Steelers defense, but overall I do like the Steelers defense a lot. I think they're the best defense in football. So I'm definitely going to have interest at 4,800 in a showdown when they're slightly below the kickers, who I think pick up way more ownership than the defenses. Because usually we see these spots where the kickers are $1,000, $1,200 more than defense. Now they're $200 and $400 more than defense here.
Yeah.
And then let's talk staying down in this range. I mean, you got Tyler Conklin right there, sandwiched between the Jets defense and the Steelers defense at 4,400. You know, Aaron Rodgers is likely going to be under pressure in this game. He did only have 3 targets last week, but before that, 9 targets, 8 targets, 6 targets. Like, Aaron Rodgers loves his tight ends. Tyler Conklin's a pretty solid tight end overall. He is questionable, but if he plays, I mean, if there is a spot to attack, to target this Pittsburgh defense, it is across the middle of the field. Those those little slots across the middle, those little curl routes in the middle of the field there, and that's what Tyler Conklin's going to do. So I don't hate him at 4,400, being squeezed there between the Jets, the Steelers, and the kickers. Any thoughts on him? Jalen Warren, Braylon Allen, Mike Williams, who is just absolute dust. Any of these other guys in this 4K and under range down here?
Yeah, no, definitely like Conklin. And then I felt like every time I looked up, Jeremy Ruckert was getting a target last week as well. I mean, he's more of a dart throw type thing if you're playing, I would say, 10-plus lineups. But I don't hate Ruckert down there. A good call on that. I mean, it's very thin, but Van Jefferson at 2,000, he's playing a bunch. They're not throwing to him, and they're not throwing to many people at all. I don't hate him. He's not the worst in my opinion, but he is playing a lot, running a lot of wind sprints out there. He wouldn't be bad. And then I mentioned Najee a little bit. I know he's a little higher priced. I don't think Najee's the worst. Braylon Allen is interesting. He was kind of eating into Breece Hall's work. And then last week it was a competitive game. He was struggling, I guess. He dropped that screen pass. So he kind of didn't play much in the second half. Now he's $3,800. Steelers a physical team. If you think they're going to intertwine these backs, I don't hate him at that price. I think that's good. But I really like Boswell. Probably, if you're looking at 5,200 and below, Boswell would be my favorite. What's your take on Jalen Warren? He didn't do much last week. He's pretty explosive though. If they get behind, he could see 5, 6, 7, 8 easy dump off targets. What's your take on Jalen Warren?
Yeah, I actually like Jalen Warren here because I think kind of like what you said. I mean, if Justin Fields was playing here, I think this game would have a better chance to stay competitive. Personally, I think. I mean, I think it's a terrible decision going to Russell Wilson personally. So I think the Steelers are going to be playing from behind. That just benefits Jalen Warren even more. And at 4K, he did play 40% of the snaps last week as well. So he's still, they're still in about a 60-40 split there. Had 6 carries last week, still had 3 targets in the air. The 2 weeks before that, obviously he was out. So first week back after he kind of sat out 2 weeks for injury there. I think at 4K, Jalen Warren's a great play. So I think below, I much prefer Jalen Warren over Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen dropped to 17% of the snaps last week. Historically, he was right around that 25 to 30% range last week in a competitive game, which I still think this game stays competitive because it's gross. I think there's not going to be much scoring overall. I just don't think Braylon Allen gets the overall workload here, but it could on a short week, right? But I still think Jalen Warren is a much better play, and he's probably my favorite running back play from the Pittsburgh side. I just think Najee's dust. I just don't think it's a great spot here. And if I were the Jets, I think I'm going to make Russell Wilson and company beat me through the air, where that's your specialty anyways, right? So I just don't think Najee is going to get it done on the ground, and I think Jalen Warren can get it done in the passing game, and he is explosive. Maybe he busts one of the carries that he gets, right? The 5 to 10 carries that he gets. Maybe he busts one to the house, and at 4K that would be plenty. So,
yeah, we're going to see some of those Russell Wilson moon balls. Maybe they land in the arms of Pickens and Jefferson and company. See, I actually like the switch. Fields, he's just not getting it done, man. Like he can't pass. And you can't be one dimensional. I don't know. I think it's a good move. I think, just because you're 4-2 doesn't mean he's doing well. But hey, we'll find out tonight if old Russ is back, which he's probably not, or if Mr. Sierra turns into a new QB.
I just think your job is to win football games, right? So he's winning football games. Yeah, is it pretty? Absolutely not. But who's to say that Russell Wilson, after sitting on the shelf for 6 weeks, is going to come in against one of the best defense, one of the best secondaries. Obviously, they got some injuries back there, but they're still an amazing defense. Well, who's to say that Russell Wilson gives you a better chance? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I think from a fantasy standpoint, it definitely improves the receivers a little bit. I think, but it seemed like Fields was getting somewhat of a connection with Pickens and Freiermuth going. At least everybody else was kind of dust, right? But I mean, I guess we'll find out with Russ, and who knows? Maybe by the second half, it's Justin Fields' team again. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I think we hit on the value here. The value again, pretty weak on this slate. I mean, yeah, you're bringing out guys like Jeremy Ruckert, who's going to see 2 targets max a game. I think kind of speaks for the value here. We don't have the Ray Davises of the world, right, in this spot. So from a value standpoint, I think going more balanced in terms of your build, and which I like anyways because I'm underweight on those quarterbacks from the Pittsburgh side. So naturally, I'm going to have some salary to go to more of these skill position players and save some salary that way. But let's go back to the top. What's your take on in the flex? I mean, you got Devontae Adams at 10K, right? Breece Hall at 10.4, Fields at 9,800, Russell Wilson 94, Rodgers at 96, Garrett Wilson at 92. I mean, he's what, the 6th highest priced guy on the slate just because Devontae Adams comes over. I mean, if this game was last week, Garrett Wilson would have probably been the 2nd highest priced guy on the slate behind Breece Hall, right? So what's your take on that? I mean, you got a lot of expensive guys. I mean, Pickens at 84, I think feels like the best play to me, just because I think the Steelers are going to have to pass the ball. Like you alluded to, right? Russell Wilson does have a better arm, I think, than Justin Fields. Now, is he going to be accurate and throw it, and the ball's going to end up in Pickens' arms? I guess we'll find out. But I think I like him quite a bit. Like him much more than Najee for $600 less. But what's your take on kind of this upper tier here in the flex? And then obviously hit on Allen Lazard too. It's still Aaron Rodgers' boy, but now he's competing with Aaron Rodgers' other guy. Good thing both of them have a right hand and they can both switch off. But what's your take on that?
Yeah, I was thinking about Lazard earlier. Like, I mean, Lazard, I know he was optimal in the Monday night game against San Fran, and he caught that bomb. Was he optimal the last Monday night game against the Bills too? Like, I feel like the
yeah. Let me pull it up,
maybe,
but
I mean,
I don't.
not that it matters, but you know, I just feel like in those primetime games, maybe Rodgers.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he went 6 for 114 and a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's just been killing it. I mean, yeah, Devontae kind of hurts him a little bit. I think Lazard in the flex as a contrarian piece, maybe off of Garrett and or Adams. I don't think I would have all 3 receivers in my lineup. If I did, I would most certainly include A-Rod as well if you plan on being a winner. But you know, I don't hate Najee. I am Najee's. I'm the first to beat up on Najee, but he looked decent last week, and I think you can beat this team grounding and pounding. And like I said, we saw it with Jordan Mason, we saw it with Ray Davis. I mean, you know, Ty Dolla $ign Johnson had 40 yards on like 4 carries. So I think you can beat them on the ground. So I don't hate Najee. You know, Pickens, I like Pickens. I'm starting to like this game. I know it's a low total, but I do like this game, and not that it has any bearing on this game, but I don't know if you remember last year, Nate, when the Raiders played the Steelers on Sunday night in Vegas. I mean, Devontae went for like, I want to say like 150 yards on like 12 catches. Not that has anything to do with this, other than the fact that it's a lot of the same pieces in the secondary, and Devontae is almost matchup proof, if you will, you know, if he's got a competent quarterback and they're trying to target him, which I think they'll give him a little bit more targets this week for a variety of different reasons. So this upper echelon is tough, or tough in the sense that there's a lot of good pieces, in my opinion, and not a lot of value. So it's going to be tough to build, good lineups, but hopefully we can get one to the top.
Yeah, I mean, I'm throwing 2 of them out of the window right away, right, with Fields and Wilson. So I probably won't have any of them. I'm just not going to deal with that. And if it beats me, it beats me, right? That probably increases my exposure a little bit to Najee. You do make a good point. I was going to say the one difference between the Jets defense and the Raiders defense is one's good, one sucks. But they on our good old report card here over on the Stone, I mean, the Steelers' rush defense is still a C. So or the Jets run defense, is still a C. So that's not much better than the D that the Raiders rush defense has. So hey, maybe old Dusty Najee can get it there. I mean, this dude was running down the sidelines, making a dive to the end zone. Like, he looked like a vintage peak Barry Sanders out there. But hey, Najee can lose it in a week just as fast as he can get it. So I guess we'll find out there. But yeah, I think you bring up good points there. I was going to bring up, Davante Adams last year in an 18-23 loss to Pittsburgh here. Granted, he was in Vegas, had 20 targets, went 13 for 172 and 2. I mean, if he goes out and scores 45 fantasy points, say goodnight to any other roster that you have without Davante Adams. Is he going to do that again? Does history repeat itself? I guess we'll find out. He does have a better quarterback throwing him the football here, but he also has much more guys to compete with, right? With Garrett Wilson, he's got Lazard, he's got Breece Hall, he's got Tyler Conklin, he's got Dusty Mike Williams, if you want to say him. He's got Hamlich's favorite guy, Jeremy Ruckert. I mean, he's got all these guys to compete with here. So maybe going back on our word, Ham, here, maybe we throw an old Dusty Rogers up top because to Tambo's point, he can go to so many different guys in this offense. So I think I might be backtracking a little bit on my word. Breece Hall is still my favorite captain. I think I might add in some Aaron Rodgers captain just because, I mean, like I said, I don't expect much scoring here. If Rodgers throws 2 touchdowns and they're both to different people, somehow he clips 300 yards or something, I mean, he could easily be the top scoring captain on the slate. What's your takes on that? Because, I mean, I just named 6 guys that realistically have a legitimate shot to be involved in this offense from a pass catching standpoint.
Yeah, I mean that's why you play Rodgers, right? I mean he was optimal in that one primetime game that Tambo nailed, and now you get another piece that's going to slot in, one A or B behind Wilson. So I like A-Rod up top. If he goes for 350 and 3 to 3 different receivers, he's going to be optimal. You're going to need him in the captain. He can't run, which is scary. Pittsburgh obviously has T.J. Watt, has Cam Hayward. They are missing this Herbig guy, another defensive end. That's pretty good. He wreak and have against the Cowboys on that Sunday night game. But I think if they choose to sit back in the pocket and let him fire it away, he's going to get it out quick, and he's going to get it to a lot of different receivers that we know he's going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I just think Davante Adams is on the same wavelength too, right? Naturally, his hamstring's just automatically good. I mean, hindsight 2020,
that's
his hamstring
medical staff, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's that getting the frick out of Vegas and dealing with Aiden O'Connell throwing you football, right? And whoever else that they throw in there. But, I mean, he still knows, right? Especially under pressure. I mean, how many times did Rodgers have no offensive line in Green Bay? I know all the haters in the chat are going to hate on me for bringing up Green Bay every time, but it is Aaron Rodgers on the slate. It is Davante Adams on the slate, and I'm applying it to this game. But he was under pressure how much in Green Bay? And Davante Adams just found those quick routes, right, to get him there. So I think between him, Lazard, and Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, dump balls, Conklin through the middle, I don't hate Rodgers up top. So he actually might be moving up my rank. I think I put him third behind Breece Hall, Pickens, and then Aaron Rodgers, I think. And then Garrett Wilson would be kind of my fourth guy there. So wanted to bring that up as we kind of round out the show here. I mean, I think we hit on everything. I think Lazard's still a solid play at 7,400. You talk about nobody wanting to play Allen Lazard. I think this is the spot. He's still expensive. Davante Adams comes over, but there's no – I mean, you think Aaron Rodgers is just going to stop going to Allen Lazard? I mean, he's gone to Allen Lazard all year. I mean, this dude's getting 6-7 targets a game and getting end zone looks, red zone looks. So, overall, I think we broke it down pretty good. I don't expect much scoring in this game, so I'm going on more of the safety, the floor guys outside of the Steelers quarterback situation. I just don't want to deal with that, and you got to pay a price to deal with that. So if you wanted to take a chance, right, and guess on one, if it's Russell Wilson, if it's Justin Fields, who's going to get all the snaps and that. But I think at their elevated price points with the uncertainty, it's just a spot that I'm going to kind of stay away from and just get my exposure to those guys through the Freiermuths of the world, the Pickens of the world, the Najees of the world, the Jalen Warrens, the pass catchers in Boswell is kind of where I'm going. But any closing remarks, Ham, before we get out of here? You're on mute, donkey. Oh, yeah, come on.
Yeah, man, it's been a couple shows. I was rocking and rolling. Yeah, but I can't wait to watch it. I'm looking forward to seeing Davante in another green. All those other green people, they're going to be unhappy. But you got the band back together. Mark Shimura and Jordy Nelson are next. So, well, Shimura was probably with Favre, but
we're not unhealthy, baby. We got freaking Jaden Reed, certified stud over here now. But excellent closing remarks, and Antonio Gibson to the medical tent there for anyone who played this dusty showdown slate that we broke down on Friday here. That's going on right now in London there between the two of the league's best in terms of losses on the season. But that's going to do it for this quick hit here for the Sunday Night Football. Hopefully your main slate's going great. If you are not a member yet at SHIPIT Nation, NBA is right around the corner. NBA 15 is the code, 15% off any membership plan, including Optimizer. If you get the All Access Pass, it's $85 a month. Takes it down, obviously, to $15 there from $100 down to $85. You get all of our sports, including our in-house optimizer, which, I mean, this thing is absolutely the stone nuts for building lineups, especially in NFL with all the rules and everything built in that you can do there. No better rate in the industry. NBA 15% off any membership plan. NBA is right around the corner, coming back this week. But good luck tonight in those contests. Hope to see those SHIPIT Nation logos at the top for Hamwich. I'm Nadesify. Let's ship it.